You ever come home thinking the worst part of your day is a lukewarm cup of coffee and a kid at the hardware store who thinks he's smarter than you? And then, out of nowhere, your whole world just shifts? That's what happened to me that dusty Montana afternoon. I was rolling up the driveway with fencing hardware in the back of my truck, thinking I'd finally get some peace, but as soon as I rounded the hill and caught sight of my property, everything changed. My little slice of shoreline, my home for the last 12 years, was no longer calm. The bridge I had built myself back in 2016, gone. Well, not gone exactly, just destroyed. Piles of splintered beams, twisted bolts, and planks floating like driftwood in the lake. At first I thought maybe a storm or a fallen tree, but no, someone had done this on purpose. Neon orange tape, two cheap wooden stakes, and a laminated sign that screamed, "Bureaucratic nonsense. Unauthorized structure removed under Willow Creek HOA visual impact compliance." Below that, in fine print, some nonsense about restoration efforts for community aesthetic standards. Now, let me back up a bit. My land isn't part of Willow Creek. Never was. My property lines are older than their manicured lawns and fake golf course dreams. We only share a lake, that's it. Or at least that's how it used to be. I stood there, fists clenched, heart pounding, wind slapping at my jacket. The bridge that had linked my cabin to the alfalfa field across the way, completely destroyed. Tractor access to my leased land was now cut off unless I wanted to drive an hour around the lake. This was my bridge, built legally, inspected, and with permits thicker than Karen's ego. I called the sheriff first, hoping someone would treat this like the crime it was. But, of course, they said, "Sounds like a civil matter, sir. Maybe talk to the HOA." That's when I knew I was on my own. I went home, dug out the paperwork, county permits, surveyor maps, and even a thank you letter from the guy who inspected the footings and said it was the cleanest job he'd seen outside of government contracting. I sent reports to every county office and every HOA board email I could find, hacking my way through their locked website like a digital soldier. That night I walked back out to the water, stared at the ruins across the inlet, and thought, somewhere over there is a clipboard-toting, agenda-loving control freak who has no idea what she's just started. The next morning, first light, I was at the county office. Brandon, the clerk with a mustache like a ferret, confirmed what I suspected. My permit was valid, no demolition order, and what had happened was 100% illegal. If anyone had claimed otherwise, they'd have to file a complaint and wait weeks, not come out with bolt cutters in the middle of the night. I dug through the security footage. Most of my cameras had been cut down, but one was still hidden under the eaves of the boathouse. There they were, 2:34 a.m., a plain white van with no logos, 5 figures in hoodies and gloves, moving too fast for any legit contractor. One of them, the kid from the HOA barbecue, Karen's son, if I remembered right. I saved the footage on 3 drives, printed stills, and called the sheriff again. This time, a deputy named Linda came out, watched the video, flipped through my evidence, and said, "You're more prepared than half the lawyers I know." Music to my ears. That afternoon, I emailed a notarized affidavit to the prosecutor, the HOA, and everyone who'd listened. The next day, a letter appeared in my mailbox. No return address, signed in black marker by Karen Lance herself. Visual disruption, community harmony, immediate action. No legal citations, just a whole bunch of HOA word salad. I laughed out loud. She thought she could scare me off, but she picked the wrong retired engineer for this fight. A few days later, I got an email from Greg Mortimer, HOA Vice President, inviting me to a collaborative resolution meeting. I showed up with Denise, my attorney and bulldog since 2019. The Silver Hollow Clubhouse looked like a Pottery Barn catalog had thrown up in it. 7 board members, all beige and bland. Karen sat in the middle, her smile tight as piano wire. "It's not a misunderstanding," I said before anyone could play nice. "You sent a crew to destroy my bridge. That's trespass and property damage." Denise slid our permits across the table. The board's lawyer tried mumbling about shared water and easements. I shot back, "Not when you cross my property line and swing a sledgehammer." Karen finally dropped the fake smile. "Your bridge was an eyesore, and you treat this place like your personal bunker." I reminded her, "You never complained when I fixed the drainage." Her face cracked just enough to know I'd hit a nerve. We walked out with Denise promising criminal subpoenas, HOA money at work. That night, a local reporter called, sniffing around for a story. I told him to hold off. A storm was coming, and I wanted it to land right on Karen's doorstep. The next morning, first light, I drove out to the lake's gate. I'd built a reinforced system that controls the entire water flow. I inspected every valve, photographed every detail, then left the notice: "Maintenance suspended, pending legal review." I CC'd the county, state water board, and for good measure, the HOA. Within a day, Karen was back, demanding I fulfill my public duty and accusing me of sabotage. I replied, "Maintenance was a courtesy. That's ended. Read your own charter." Within days, things got weird. Some guy in a suit parked by the access road for hours, typing on a laptop, probably a PI hired by the HOA. Denise laughed. "Let them look. They'll find you're the cleanest guy in Montana." I set up more trail cams, upgraded the locks, filed harassment complaints with the sheriff, and started fielding friendly calls from realtors and contractors asking if I'd sell or maybe let them help restore my shoreline. Yeah, that happened. Then the rain came. The lake rose fast. Without my active management, the system did what it was designed to do: overflowed, naturally, draining through the emergency bypass into the Silver Hollow Lagoon. By the end of the week, their fancy docks were sitting on mud, spa decks stranded, kayaks beached. HOA panic set in. Emergency meetings, frantic emails, but nothing they could do. The county told them he's within his rights. The news ran a segment, drones flying over the dried-up lagoon, anchors asking, "Who's to blame?" Karen went full scorched earth. She filed a lawsuit accusing me of sabotage, forged county documents, and tried to claim the gate was illegally built. But she'd forged a signature, and the county clerk called it out. Denise added forgery to the criminal case, and the DA got involved. Then a neighbor, Mary, quietly reached out. She and other homeowners wanted Karen gone, but were scared of her threats. I told her to save every message just in case. Town meetings, new committees, claims that Karen would take the lake system back. The county hit her with conspiracy charges. In court, Denise laid out every shred of evidence: video, forged docs, maintenance logs, and even a voicemail of Karen threatening to take it by force. The judge didn't hesitate. Found in our favor, HOA dissolved, property seized. I got full rights to the lake system, plus a check big enough to rebuild everything 3 times over. That first walk across my new bridge, wider, steel reinforced, timbered to blend right into the landscape, felt like crossing back into my own life. The HOA was gone, their dream houses up for sale. The land was finally quiet. Some folks tried to rebuild their little FFTs, but the county shut them down. Others sent thank you notes, like Mary, who moved to Missoula and donated to a legal fund for homeowners battling HOAs. Every morning, I cross that bridge, hear the boards creak, and think about the lesson in all this. You buy land, work it, respect it. When someone comes for it with a form letter and a sledgehammer, you stand your ground, not out of spite, but principle. I put up a sign on the bridge: "Only those who don't trespass may cross." People leave coins, take pictures, treat it like a shrine. I don't mind. Let them remember, it's not about fighting for land. It's about fighting for what's right. And when the sun sets over that water, gold across the timber, I know the battle's over. For now, anyway. But hey, whoever said Montana was boring? So what do you think? Was I right to fight back, or did I take it too far? Let me know down in the comments, because sometimes justice is muddy, and the best stories don't end with a clean slate. Just a stronger bridge.